Hey everyone, in today's video we are going to see how computers can predict the future, like what should be the weather tomorrow or what should be the next word in the sentence. It all comes down to a simple clever trick called Markov's chain. A Markov chain is a sequence of states where the next state depends only on the current state, not the entire past. Now let's see a real example how Markov chain can be used to predict the future weather based on the weather today. Here we have three different possible states of the weather. It can be either sunny or cloudy or rainy, and each state has chances of changing to another state. Here you can see in the transition table. For today the weather can either be sunny or cloudy or rainy, and depends on the current situation of the weather today we will predict the weather for tomorrow. For example, if the weather today is sunny, we will say that there is a 70% chance that the weather for tomorrow will also be sunny, and 20% chance it will be cloudy, and 10% chance it will be rainy. And similarly, if the weather today is cloudy, then we will say that there is a 30% chance that for tomorrow the weather will be sunny, 40% chance it will be cloudy again, and 30% chance it will rainy. And similarly goes for the rainy weather. And here in the table you can also notice one more thing, that in each row the numbers add up to 1. This can make sense. For example, if the weather today is sunny, then for tomorrow it will be either sunny or cloudy or rainy. So the total probability of all the possibilities is 100%. Now how we can choose one of the weather for tomorrow from all of these weathers based on the weather today? We will use a technique called random number. It's like throwing a dice and it will generate the number between 0 and 1, and based on this random number we will decide what will be our weather for tomorrow. It will be either sunny or cloudy or rainy based on the weather today. For example, for today the weather is sunny. Now I have thrown my dice and I got the number 0.6 on dice. So this number is lies between 0 and 0.7. So I will say that the weather for tomorrow will be sunny. Now for example, I have again thrown the dice. This time I got the number 0.8, which is higher than the 0.7. So what we will do, we will jump to the next state, which is cloudy. Now we will add these two numbers, 0.7 plus 0.2, it will become 0.9. Now the number from the dice is 0.8 and it lies between the 0.7 and the sum of these two numbers, which is 0.9. So we can say that the weather for tomorrow now will be cloudy, and similarly for the rainy. Next we will see how we can implement this example in Python. Now open your code editor, and here I have created the Python file test.py in which I'm going to write my code. First thing I need to import is the random library, which is used to generate random numbers. And the first thing I have to define is the states for our weather, and it can have three possible states. Number 1 is sunny, number 2 is cloudy, and the last possible state is rainy. Next is we have to create our transition table. For this, create a variable with the name of transition is equal to, create a set of curly brackets, and our first state is sunny. And what if the weather today is sunny? Then here we have to write the possible states for the future. So the future can either be sunny, so the probability for sunny is 0.7%, or it can be cloudy, so change sunny here with the cloudy, and the probability is 0.2%, and the last one is rainy, and the probability for rainy is 0.1%. Now we have to copy this row for the next states. Now copy it from here, paste it in the next line, just change sunny here with the cloudy. Now if the weather today is cloudy, it can be either sunny, and the probability for sunny is 0.3%, and for cloudy is 0.4%, and again for rainy is 0.3%. Now repeat it for the rainy state, replace sunny with the rainy again, and the probability for sunny in this case is 0.2%, for cloudy is 0.3%, and for rainy is 0.5%. So here is our transition table. Next, I'm going to create a Markov chain in which we are going to predict our weather for the next day based on the weather of the previous day. For this, I'm going to create a function with the name of next state, and inside this function we are going to pass our current state, put colon here. The first thing is we have to create a random number and store it inside some variable. So create a variable r is equal to, and to generate a random number you have to use this random library, and from this library you have to use this random function, create a set of small brackets. Now it will generate the random number between 0 and 1 and it will store this number inside this variable. Next we have to create a variable with the name of sum in which we are going to calculate the sum of our probabilities and we are going to initialize it with 0. Next thing is we have to go into the current state from all of these states and then we have to predict the state for the next day. For this I'm going to use the for loop for state and probability in the current state. For this we have to go inside our transition table and to choose the current state from the transition table we have to pass our current variable here. And now we have to calculate the sum of all the probabilities. For this you can say that sum plus is equal to p. Next we have to check if this random number is less than the sum, then we have to return our next state. So this is our Markov chain. Next we are going to test our Markov chain. For this we have to first tell the current situation of the weather today. For this create a variable with the name of current is equal to and the weather situation today is sunny. And now we have to pass this current situation inside this function to get the prediction of the weather for tomorrow. So here you can create a variable, for example next, which is the next state of the weather, and to predict the next state we have to use this function next state, and inside this function we have to pass our current state. Now we have to print our results. Here we have our current state and here we have to print our next state. Now save your file, go inside the terminal and to run the file type Python here and the name for your Python file and press enter. The weather of today is sunny and the Markov chain is predicting the weather for tomorrow will also be sunny. Now test it with the cloudy situation. Now if the current situation is cloudy, then what will be the weather for tomorrow? Now run your file again. If the weather today is cloudy, then the weather tomorrow will also be cloudy, predicted by the Markov chain. Next, if you want to predict the weather for the next 10 days, for this we have to create a new variable here with the name of sequence in which we are going to store the state of all the weathers, and the first state is our current situation, so you can pass current here. Now we have to create a for loop and we are going to run this for loop from 0 to 10, and inside this for loop we are going to predict our next state based on the previous state, so you have to change this next with also the current. Now what it will do, it will replace this current with the previous current in each iteration. Next we have to store the results inside this sequence variable, so you can simply type a sequence. In order to store all of the results you have to use append and you have to pass current here. And now here in the print you can simply print your sequence here, so you can simply type here sequence. Now save your file, go into your terminal and run your file again. Now here you have the prediction for the next 10 days. So if the weather of today is cloudy, then tomorrow it will also be cloudy, then on the third day it will be rainy, fourth day rainy, again cloudy, sunny, and here is the prediction for the next 10 days. So this is all about Markov chain. So if you are new here and you want to learn about AI and robotics, you can subscribe my channel and press the bell icon to get the updates of the new uploads. See you next time. Bye bye.